Hello, this is Allison Hunt, and this is the Old Slocum House Theater Company's documentary, Part 6, and this is Part 2 of Part 6. This is Sharon Casey Rollins' newspaper clippings. The next play we have is Her Step-Husband, which was directed by Julie Madsen. I have an article which I read in one of my videos previously. I have a couple pictures. I have more than two for this play. Sharon was in this one, and my mom Connie was also in this one. We're going to get back to Her Step-Husband later when I interview my mom and Sharon. But I do have an article. Julie Madsen won Best Director for Her Step-Husband. The next play we have is Ghost in the Glass, which was directed by Sharon Casey Rollins. So, Ghost in the Glass was done in May of 1988. Colleen Philippi, Kurt Aristad, and Ken Fox have a moment together in The Ghost in the Glass. Cast, pace, give Ghost momentum. Slocum House has good laughs. The Ghost in the Glass is the latest old and obscure script to be dusted off and spiffed up by the Old Slocum House Theater Company. But the production that opened Thursday night is better than most ditties that flit about the boards of the tiny Victorian theater. But that's not to imply this senseless mystery comedy, written by Robert St. Clair, is any greater shakes than Slocum's usual fare. This show provides a night of gaiety because director Sharon Casey Rollins has assembled a winning cast and demanded a spinning pace. Rollins has obviously encouraged her actors to take chances and to have as much fun with their characters as they can. While some do not, others, hooray, do. In addition, the staging is clean and well-timed. Steve Rollins does a nice job operating the lights. Hey, it's a ghost story, so there has to be a lot of blackouts. The many sound cues are perfectly timed and executed by Gordon Winter and Archie Williams. Specifically due to performances by Kurt Aristad, Pat Rohrbach, and Ann Mark Williams, opening night on Thursday turned out to be the best time I've had at the Slocum in a couple years. The play is set in 1895 in a remote and deserted hunting lodge in the Adirondacks. Actually, the place is supposed to be deserted, but the old array of people are constantly coming and going. Some think there's a ghost sauntering about. Aristad, who is so terrific, and You Know I Can't Hear You When the Water's Running, earlier this season for Blue Parrot Theater, plays Jack Eddy, who comes to honeymoon at the lodge with his new bride. Aristad's creation is your basic cross between the bumbling Dagwood, Bumstead, and the jittering John Ritter. With his blonde hair, outwardly kind face, and kiddish ways, he also brings to mind Steve Martin, and also at times the stammering, cowardly lion. And then there's his voice, which sounds like Kermit the Frog going through puberty. Great voice, no questions about it, with such a keen talent for concocting the character. Coupled with a natural sense of timing, Aristad is an actor to watch. As Bloodline, the personal maid who has regretfully accomplished the honeymooners, Pat Rohrbach also helps make Ghost a fine time. Playing a southern crybaby, Rohrbach sounds a lot like Scarlett's boisterous mammy in Gone with the Wind. Ain't never done nothing, and promise I won't ever do it again. Ann Mark Williams, likewise, creates an original and thoughtful character as a mystery lady who wanders into the lodge and warns of strange things. The Ghost in the Glass has been dedicated to the memory of Ken Champagne, the fine, well-liked, and eager Vancouver actor who died earlier this year. Philippi and Robert Scoville in the Slocum House production. Slocum sets Ghost in the Glass. The Old Slocum House Theater Company will close its 1987-88 season with The Ghost in the Glass, a comedy mystery by Robert St. Clair. The first performance in the 2-week run will be at 8:30 p.m. Thursday, 605 Esther Street. Sharon Casey Rollins directs the 3-act show with assistance from Connie Hill. That play, including 13 actors, is set in an old deserted hunting lodge where a couple has gone for a honeymoon. This article is from May 13th, 1988. Susan Hill and Rebecca Mapfield face off in The Ghost in the Glass. Cast and pace make Ghost amusing fare. Okay, well, this is the exact same article, it just has a different picture. The next one we have is the Victorian Festival of 1988, which featured Love and Geography and Caste. I do have a scribble about Inherit the Wind being done right around this time, even though I don't have anything for Inherit the Wind, except Michael Haywood was involved in that, and I think Sharon was too. Caste by T.W. Robertson. 1867, directed by Connie R. Merrill, assisted by Ron Carmona. July 29, 1988. Slocum melodrama works well as farce. Play adjusted for modern audience. The Old Slocum House Theatre Company unveiled the second play in its 8th annual Victorian Festival, Thursday evening, with a surprisingly veridical approach to Thomas Robertson's vintage melodrama, Caste. Robertson's examination of class distinctions and how little they matter to most of humanity was given a fast pace and comic treatment by director Connie Merrill that worked for most of the evening. By overplaying the arrogance of the nobility and underplaying the vulgarity of the working class, the melodramatic lines brought laughter at the premiere performance. If we lost sight of Robertson's compassion, we doubled our appreciation of his wit. Gaethel Ferguson as the gas man, Sam Garridge was the most consistent performer. And in the third act, his basic characterizations conflicted hilariously with Sharon Rollins as the stuffy marquise and with Ken Fox, the alcoholic father of the heroine. Playing off of him, Deborah Barnett as the heroine's sister and Sam's beloved was adept with her comic turns. Richard Wolfe as the aristocratic in love with Cynthia Dominic was less than dynamic, but perhaps the role and the approach by the director Merrill did not permit much depth in his character. Wolfe and Dominic had to settle for the romantic moments that failed to ring true in this production. Richard Altenbach was appropriately stuffy in the first 2 acts until he realizes the honor and dignity inherited in his friend's wife and family. And Timothy Baker as the aristocratic man's appeared only briefly in the second act, with a startling entrance that suggested Charlie Chaplin had arrived. Playwright Robertson's works are most often performed these days by universities who use them to illustrate the shift in theater from romanticism to realism. But Merrill obviously felt that modern audiences would have a difficult time identifying with the problem of class distinctions, and decided to mount the work for entertainment values. She also moved her cast around the small stage with more alacrity than the festival's initial production, Love and Geography, where one left the theater wondering why no one in Norway ever sat down. Cast will continue at 8:30 p.m. Thursday through Saturday through August 6th, with matinees scheduled for 2:30 p.m. on July 30th and August 6th. Richard Wolfe is George D. Alroy, and Ken Fox is Eccles, Old Slocum House's Caste. The next one we have is Three Sisters, which was done March of 1989. Friday, March 17th, 1989. Above, The Three Sisters continues at Slocum House Theater with Sharon Casey Rollins as Olga, Carrie Filaro as Marcia, and Lynn Enns as Irina. The Three Sisters by Anton Chekhov continues at the Old Slocum House Theater, 605 Esther Street. Mike Haywood directs the 88-year-old play, and familiar local actor Dennis Sparks makes his Slocum House debut in the leading male role of Vershinin. Attention to detail enhances production. Three Sisters describes a vanished world, a land of regimented social classes, where the aloofness of the aristocracy and the growing unrest among the peasants sets the stage for eventual revolution. In this Anton Chekhov play, the characters respond to actions that occur off-stage. The events are related to the audience through second-hand information. How an event is perceived depends not only upon the source, but also the source's social position. Chekhov reveals that the more aristocratic the individual, the more tenuous his or her grip upon reality. In Three Sisters, the lives of Olga, Marcia, and Irina are chronicled over a span of years, culminating in the breakup of their family and friends. The early exhilaration and youthful promise gradually give way to despair and numbing apathy. Newcomers to their home, such as an overbearing sister-in-law, seize control over the family, while debt piles up and goals recede from view. Ironically, it is Olga, the oldest sister, who adapts best to the family's changing fortunes. Irina, the youngest, prettiest, and most promising, is left at play's end adrift and wondering what will become of her, a question that will comfort many in her social position. Director Michael Haywood takes advantage of the extended backstage area at the old Slocum House Theater to set the action at different depths. The dimensional effect is reminiscent of a shadow box in that performers and set are placed and interact along clearly defined lines parallel to the stage. This old-fashioned feeling is accentuated by the period decor and its blending with the theater's filigree trim. The large cast never overwhelms the limited stage space. Although the production's direction and pacing is steady and consistent, a sense of characterization is missing in many of the smaller roles. Lines are often delivered without much attention to inflection or whatever else is going on in the story. The set's elegant furniture is complemented by the beautiful costumes, which are in themselves a striking evocation of the 19th century. Chekhov will never be an easy theater experience, but in this production, with its attention to period detail, combines with its stage space to provide a thoughtful introduction to this classic play. The next one we have is The Wife Who Was Kidnapped, done in September of 1989. The Wife Who Was Kidnapped, a whimsical comedy in 3 acts, by Milton Herbert Groper. I'm not sure if my mom directed this one. I'm not sure who directed this. I was a kid. I had a small role with a different boy that was young, like me. I don't remember any of the lines. It's been a long time, but it was fun. I have one picture of Deborah Barnett and Mike Haywood. Professional wife kidnapper Mike Haywood, Wright, woos victim Deborah Barnett in The Wife Who Was Kidnapped, newly opened at Slocum House Theater this weekend. Next we have, in February 1992, For All the Saints. This is the one about the stained glass people that come to life. This was directed by my mom, Connie Dickhouse. I've already read most of these articles. Saints amuses devilishly, and Saints premiering at Slocum. My brother did draw this flyer for All the Saints. The next one we have is Arsenic and Old Lace, which was directed by Connie Dickhouse, February 1993. Arsenic and Old Lace to open. I've read that one before. A Fine Night with the Aunties. I've also read this one. That one was a really good show. This article is from Sunday, June 13th, 1993. Arts and Entertainment. Agnes of God snags a bevy of nominations. Clark County's Performing Arts Awards ceremony Thursday. Agnes of God, John Pielemeyer's powerful drama about a young nun accused of murdering her baby, tops the nomination for the Clark County Performing Arts Awards. The Blue Parrot Theater Company's production is up for 8 awards: Best Production, Best Drama, Best Director, Tony Bump, Leading Actress, Cynthia Tank, Supporting Actress, Kristen Olsen, Supporting, Pat Rohrbach, Set Design, Stuart Grant, and Lighting, Tom Laidlaw. Guys and Dolls, the Clark College musical, is up for 6 awards, while Clark's Death Trap and The Foreigner, Mask and Mirrors, The Good Doctor, Blue Parrots, The Taming of the Shrew, and the Old Slocum House Theater Company's HMS Pinafore and Arsenic and Old Lace are nominated for 5 awards. In addition to Agnes of God, Nominees for the Kate Award, tantamount to the year's best production, are Death Trap, The Foreigner, The Good Doctor, HMS Pinafore, and the Old Slocum House Theater Company's A Little Night Music. The Old Slocum House Theater Company is nominated for 22 awards: Blue Parrot 19, Clark College 16, Mask and Mirror 9, and Peanut Gallery, Prairie High School 4. Performing Arts Awards along with Hermine Decker, Rising Star and Judge's Eye Awards will be presented at 7 p.m. Thursday in Geyser Hall at Clark College. Leading Actor, the nominees: Leading Actor, Comedy Drama, Tony Bump, The Taming of the Shrew, Bill Sismar, A Doll's House, David Clegg, A Christmas Carol, Andrew Forshee, The Foreigner, Cardiff Fossend, The Good Doctor, Leading Actress, Comedy Drama, Laurie Campbell, Leslie, The Taming of the Shrew, Cynthia Tank, Agnes of God, Joanne Grandin, A Doll's House, Sharon Casey Rollins, Arsenic and Old Lace, Liz Westby, Home Games. Supporting Actor, Comedy Drama: Bob Madsen, I Never Sang for My Father, Kobe Sullivan, The Foreigner, John Defendifer, The Good Doctor, Aaron Fitzgerald, Death Trap, St. Michael James, Arsenic and Old Lace. Supporting Actress, Comedy Drama: Kristen Olsen, Agnes of God, Pat Rohrbach, Agnes of God, Barbara Campbell, Early One Evening at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. My mom was in that one. That's the only Blue Parrot one she was involved in. Peggy Matt, I Never Sang for My Father, Julie Madsen, Arsenic and Old Lace. Leading Actor, Musical: John Sitzerson, Bye Bye Birdie, David Hicks, HMS Pinafore, Steve Coker, Guys and Dolls. Leading Actress, Musical: Lisa Duvall, HMS Pinafore, Kristen Olsen, The Mikado, Laurie Campbell, Leslie, A Little Night Music. Supporting Actor, Musical: Scott Weimer, The Mikado, Sean Albrechtston, Guys and Dolls, Scott Grove, Bye Bye Birdie. Supporting Actress, Musical: Elizabeth Ann Young for Guys and Dolls, Kim Newling, The Mikado, Peggy Matt, A Little Night Music. Costume Design: Gretchen Vandewater, The Taming of the Shrew, Barbara Campbell, A Christmas Carol, Judy Strother, The Good Doctor. Choreography: Tammy Gray, Guys and Dolls, Stuart Grant, The Mikado, Tammy Gray, Bye Bye Birdie. Set Design: Steve Coker, Death Trap, Tom Laidlaw, The Taming of the Shrew, Gretchen Vandewater, Tony Bump, HMS Pinafore, Michael Delves, Wait Until Dark, Stuart Grant, Agnes of God. Lighting: Tom Laidlaw, Agnes of God, Michael Delves, The Good Doctor, Gina Gretsch, Arsenic and Old Lace. Director: Tony Bump, Agnes of God, D. Michael Haywood, A Doll's House, Steve Coker, Death Trap, Jay Patrick, The Foreigner, Berta Limbaugh, The Taming of the Shrew. Best Dramatic Play: Agnes of God, Blue Parrot Theater, Death Trap, Clark College, A Doll's House, the Slocum House Theater Company, Wait Until Dark, Mask and Mirror, I Never Sang for My Father, Blue Parrot Theater. Best Comedy: The Foreigner, Clark College, Arsenic and Old Lace, the Old Slocum House Theater Company, Early One Evening at the Rainbow Bar and Grill, Blue Parrot Theater. Best Musical: A Little Night Music, the Old Slocum House Theater Company, HMS Pinafore, the Old Slocum House Theater Company, Guys and Dolls, Clark College. Musical Direction: Dale Beacock, Guys and Dolls, Kathleen Stitt, Bye Bye Birdie. Best Production: Kate Award, Agnes of God, Blue Parrot Theater, Death Trap, Clark College, The Foreigner, Clark College, The Good Doctor, Mask and Mirror, A Little Night Music, the Old Slocum House Theater Company, HMS Pinafore, the Old Slocum House Theater Company. don't really know who won. I haven't been able to find the year for Crooked Money, but Sharon played a good twin and a bad twin, and my mom was in this play, and Don Wade was in this play. I already read this article. Crooked Money is the laugh track with great groaners. I have a picture of Art Green, Don Wade, Connie Dickhouse, D. Michael Haywood, Sharon Rollins, Laura Castle, who is going to help on our project. Other two fellas, I'm not exactly sure who they are, and I don't have a program that tells me, but I will ask. This article is from 1988. Arts and Entertainment. In-demand actress Greep wins Decker Award. If you were a nurse taking the pulse of a Clark County theater's scene on a routine basis, it would be impossible to ignore the regular upbeats of Linda Greep. Ever since she first bounced onto a Vancouver stage in peanut galleries once upon a mattress, Greep's been a popular, solid, and entertaining musical comedy actress here, as well as in Portland. Linda Greep is the recipient of the Columbian's 1988 Hermine Decker Award. The award, now in its third year, is presented annually for outstanding ongoing contribution to Clark County Theater. The award is named for its first recipient, who is founder and president of Old Slocum House. Greep is in constant demand as an entertainer, probably because she says yes so often when approached to emcee an event or take role in a show. She is in it to have fun and because she loves it, and with a strong desire and commitment to making each show in which she participates the best it can be. She's in it to stretch her talent and to work hard. Directors who have worked with her have commented on Greep's professional demeanor, agreeable disposition, and dedication to whatever role she is playing. Whenever you find yourself in a role, you can't help but live that show, even 8 to 5, and you drive your coworkers insane. Greep says, "It's a hoot." "It's a hoot" is a favorite expression of hers. In addition to her frequent contributions as an actress, there is perhaps no one paying more attention to the encouraging local young people to discover, nurture, and use their musical skills. As the founder and director of the 24-member We the Kids song troupe, Greep is interested in helping breed the talent that will impact the future of musical theater here. It was 10 years ago that the former two-time baton-twirling Illinois state champion moved to Vancouver with her husband Larry and their son David, now 18 and a musical comedy performer in his own right. At 11, Linda George from Palos Heights, Illinois, in her own words, a real serious twirler. Back then, the young and leggy Linda, who had been taking dance lessons ever since the age 2.5, took third place in a national twirling competition. Another year, she was a strutting champion. In theater circles, there are always those who really know how to strut their stuff. Greep is one. In musical theater circles, there is a creature known as the triple threat, the candidate who shows up at auditions, who can sing, dance, and act. Greep is one. And the brassy show Gypsy, in which Greep played the indomitable Mama Rose for Portland Civic Theater in '83, offers a piece of important advice. You gotta have a gimmick. Twirling was Greep's gimmick. When Peanut Gallery announced it would open its 1980 season with Annie Get Your Gun, Greep, who can sing all merman stuff, got to twirling. "I wanted to play Annie Oakley real bad," she recalls. "At the audition, I sang You Can't Get a Man with a Gun, and I twirled this stupid rifle all over the place." Of course she got the part, and over the years she has put her state champ abilities into any shows she could, twirling such other things as wands, coats, brooms, a telescope, and even a baton now and again. Greep has played leading roles in a couple dozen Vancouver-Portland musicals, including Annie, Chicago, Ma'am, Dames at Sea, Anything Goes, and The Most Happy Fella, because she fell in love with the starring roles in South Pacific, Mattress, and Hello Dolly. She did them not once but twice in different local productions. With the exception of playing Peter Pan, Greep has done her dream roles. She was most recently a standout as the gum-smacking Adelaide in Main Street Players, Guys and Dolls. After 12 years teaching elementary school, Greep, 40, is Director of Community Relations for the Evergreen School District. She is also creator and host of Columbia Cable's popular children's show, Kids on Cable, now into its 6th season. I feel very fortunate that I've always been able to do what I really love, entertaining and working with children, Greep says. I was lucky that I had outlets as a youngster, and I like to see children have the same opportunity. Greep always thrived on being active. In high school, she got the award for being most involved. She is rarely seen in a non-bubbly mood, for she has good explanation for that. I don't know, I've just always been that way. I've got all this energy. The other day, a district administrator asked Greep if she had coffee in her veins instead of blood. She considers herself an entertainer first and foremost, but doesn't rule out the idea of starting a new chapter for myself and calling it Serious Actress. Community theater has often been a family affair for the Greeps. Husband Larry, an engineer, has played clarinet in various orchestras. Son David is a pianist who has done everything from running the spotlight to appearing on stage himself. Like his mom, he's a triple threat, Linda says, laughing. Greep stays trim and fit by doing her own short aerobics routine in the privacy of her living room, while playing various Broadway shows on the stereo. It's just a hoot, she says of her workout. Linda Greep played Adelaide in Guys and Dolls. The next play we have is Come Back Little Sheba, February of 1996. I've also read this article. Sheba gets boost from talented cast. So this one starred D. Michael Haywood and Sharon Casey Rollins. It's a story about a recovering alcoholic. Laura Castle was also in this, and Jeff, directed by Connie Dickhouse and assisted directed by Jeff Hayes, who also played Turk in this play. It was extremely awesome, and I know that Sharon won Best Actress for that one. I'm not sure if Mike Haywood won Best Actor, but it was an amazing show. The next one we have is Bus Stop, which was done in, I think, May of 1998. This was directed by Connie Dickhouse, Elma Duckworth, Allison Hunt, Grace, Sharon Casey Rollins, Will Masters, Art Green, Sherry, Laura Castle, Dr. Gerald Lyman, Mike Haywood, Carl, Steve Schmidt, Bo Decker, Todd Andes, Virgil Blessing, Mike McDaniel. Stage manager Leah Doss, assistant director Jeff Hayes, director Connie R. Dickhouse. This was a wonderful show. We won a lot of awards. We won Best Comedy. Michael Haywood won as Best Supporting Actor. Sharon Rollins won as Best Supporting Actress. We had a nomination for Set Design. Laura Castle won as Best Leading Actress. Todd Andes won as Best Leading Actor. That was a really fun, awesome show. Every night before the curtain went up, me and Sharon opened the show, and in the curtain there was a little bitty hole. So we'd get on stage and we'd creep up and we'd peek through the hole and see if it's full, how many people were in the audience. And we had a tradition that before the curtain, we would look at each other and we would do a do-si-do round and around together every night before the curtain went up, before we took our spots. Great, it was so much fun. I have some random articles. This one's from May 12th, 1985. Many players join in the drama of bringing drama to stage. There are 6 sources of Clark County theater, other than public schools. 5 nonprofit theater groups and the Clark College Drama Department produce amateur plays and musicals. Community theater is the product of dozens of volunteers, though guest directors and performers are sometimes awarded a small stipend for their contributions. Most participants become involved in amateur theater with the idea it will be a swell hobby, a terrific social outlet, but those who stick with the pastime generally come to think of it as much more. Participating in drama can become a vibrant, stimulating aspect to one's life. Vancouver's active theater troupes are the Old Slocum House Theater Company, has been operated since 1972 by a handful of volunteers in a city-owned historic villa at 205 Esther Street. Most productions are lighthearted, and bylaws mandate all must hail from the 19th century or earlier. Hermine Decker is, and has always been president. Says she, "I think there'd be a lot of people who would like to see me out." Decker believes the dated plays complement the old house, and vice versa. The 60-seat theater partly caters to senior citizens living in a nearby Smith Tower. They can walk to the theater on the southwest corner of Esther Short Park, and for $2 take a frivolous matinee. Actress and director Shirley Lindsay says the group provides an opportunity for neophytes lacking the experience, confidence, or courage to audition for more sophisticated groups in Clark County. Slocum doesn't operate on a seasonal basis, September to June, as other groups do. "We just go from one show to the next," says Lindsay. Shows have not been scheduled for next year, but the theater will stage its 5th annual Victorian Festival this summer. This year's effort will bring Charles II, or The Merry Monarch by Washington Irving and John Payne, and Tom Cobb or Fortune's Choice. The plays will alternate in production during 4 weekends in August. The Peanut Gallery has staged musicals since 1972 and relies on standard blockbusters to stay afloat. After performing at both Fort Vancouver and Mountain View High Schools, the gallery this season made Columbia Arts Center its permanent home. A board of directors chooses to stage and hires directors who are paid about $500 to $800. 3 shows are produced each season. Past triumphs include Oklahoma, Mame, I hope I said that, The Musical Man, on tap for the 1985-86 season, The King and I, The Roar of the Grease Paint, The Smell of the Crowd, and Annie. Encore Players produces 3 classic and contemporary plays per season, mostly comedies, at the Columbia Arts Center. The group was formed in 1974 by some Slocum people interested in plays written later than 1900. A membership group serving its members was Encore's original concept. Next season will bring The Odd Couple, the gripping Whose Life Is It Anyway, and the restoration play School for Scandal, to be updated to the 1920s by guest director Dean Kelly. Clark College Drama Department brings both musicals and straight plays, also with comedy The Standout, to its boards. Musicals are offered in a dinner theater setting, with the food prepared by the college's fine culinary arts department. But soaring food prices hiked the dinner show package up to $17 this year, and that price kept some at home. Drama department head Dan Anderson selects shows for production. For next season, he is considering either Lil Abner, Camelot, or South Pacific, followed by either Inherit the Wind or Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, or The Tempest. The comedy, Bull's Shot Command, is the only show Anderson has firmly scheduled. Main Street Players is a new, tightly knit group offering light dinner theater fare at the Edelweiss Inn in Hazeldale. The effort was organized by a group of talents from both Vancouver and Portland that enjoy working together. Initial seed money came from the players and a Seattle benefactor. The group might stage a musical Revenue Saturday nights this summer at the Edelweiss. Plans for the fall are not firm, but shows being considered include Sugar, The Boyfriend, and Prisoner of Second Avenue. Blue Parrot Theater Company is a 2-year-old troupe attempting a blend of so-called risks, as in serious-minded and lighthearted plays to Camas. The group's main struggle has been securing a place to perform with each new show. It now is looking at the Camas Community Center, southeast of downtown, as possible home base. On tap for next season, the Gothic play Rebecca, The Importance of Being Earnest, The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, the contemporary family comedy drama Close Times, and a special feature that is being called An Evening with Actors. Blue Parrot is the only community theater with an in-house artistic director, Dennis Sparks, who has the Post notes that the fee he is paid for the service is very, very nominal. It barely pays for gas. This next article, I don't have a date. On the Edge Theater Ensemble, Clark County's youngest theater company was the biggest winner in the second annual Theater Arts Awards Tuesday night at the Columbia Arts Center. The 2-year-old troupe's fall production of The Diary of Anne Frank was named Best Show by a panel of 6 judges who saw 20 local productions between June '87 and May '88. The judges also chose Christine Sherman as Best Actress for her brilliant biographical portrayal of 13-year-old Anne Frank, who hid from Nazis in World War II. Schumann's work in the drama burst with passion for life, according to the judges. On the Edge founder and artistic director Dennis Sparks made several trips to the podium during the night to accept other top prizes. The company was awarded $400 from the Clark County Foundation to be used towards producing a show next season. For its overall contribution in the 1987-88, the company was also given the Pekema Award, a statue created especially for the theater community by local artist Joanne Pekema. In 8 categories honored, On the Edge earned the most nominations with 14. Clark College Theater Department received 4, while the Peanut Gallery Theater Company and Clark College each had 3. The judges did not select a winner in the choreography category. It's been a lot of years for me to get to here, and it's nice, Sparks said when he accepted the $400. He also supported an idea that individual theater groups here consider merging talents to produce joint venues in the future. That might be where it's at right now, he said. For his very smooth performance, graced with impeccable comic timing, Neil Walsh earned the Best Actor citation. Walsh played Sidney Brawl, the arrogant, washed-up playwright in Blue Parrot's July production of Death Trap. The other winners were director Diana Trotter Nicholson, The Diary of Anne Frank; On the Edge, supporting actress Jennifer Moore, Laundry and Bourbon; On the Edge, supporting actor Dale Hoover; Camelot, Clark College, costumes Priscilla Madoff, Camelot, Clark College, and set and light design Bruce Sow and Robert Sow, The Diary of Anne Frank, On the Edge. In addition to the judges' picks, the event was also an opportunity for Clark College theater groups to acknowledge outstanding efforts made by their own participants. Each troupe chose 3 individuals for their work over the last season. Those recognized were the Peanut Gallery Theater Company, Gretchen Van de Water, costumes for The Sound of Music, Judith McClay Dellin, Best Supporting Actress, The Sound of Music, Dennis Sparks, Best Actor, The Sound of Music, Blue Parrot Theater Company, Pat Rohrbach, Steve Smith, and Kurt Aristad, all 3 for performances, and You Know I Can't Hear You When the Water's Running. Clark College Theater, Aristad Rasmussen, overall costume achievement, Judy Sloan for Best Actress in The Secret Affairs of Mildred Wild, Kevin Newling, Best Supporting Actor in Camelot, and she cut out the Slocum House one that goes here. On the Edge Theater Ensemble, Ruth Rohr and Dave Hutchins for overall acting contribution and behind-the-scenes work, and Bruce Sow overall achievement in set design and direction. The award program also included presentation by the Columbian of its 3rd annual Hermine Decker Award, which recognizes an individual for outstanding overall contribution to Clark County Theater. Musical comedy performer Linda Greep is this year's recipient. So this article goes somewhere in the year that article goes somewhere where Greep gets the Decker Award, but I don't have dates for them. Local theater scene unsettled. Little cooperation could go a long way, with some productions canceled and other shows plagued by low attendance. Clark County's 1987-88 theater season had its rocky moments, but there were a few gems out there. Actors who shone, productions that glowed. When I revealed my picks for the best contributions made during the 1986-87 season, I remarked I had found that season dismal in general. I regret to have to say the same this year. I sense that community theater here is in a state of transition, and that, until it makes the turn, we're in for an uncertain ride. As the Columbian's theater critic, it is my job to see as much local theater as possible, to help theater goers decide how to best spend their time and money, and to encourage talent that ought to be encouraged. I continue to maintain that Clark County's theater community is in a general state of misorganization. More attention must be paid to play selection, to scheduling, to fundraising, and to finding skilled directors, appropriate actors, and knowledgeable technical personnel. Inevitably, theater-producing organizations in Southwest Washington are going to have to unite in some capacity. Portland recently organized the Portland Theater Arts Alliance and invited all theater-producing organizations to join. The purpose of the alliance is to improve communication, contacts, knowledge, and most important, to pool resources. It seems too good a thing not to do. Here's hoping that with the inception of the annual Theater Awards, Clark County groups can begin to form a more cooperative, rewarding relationship. The 7 Clark County troupes, including Clark College Theater Department, produced 20 shows between June 1987 and May 1988. Here are my own picks for the best of that season. Best Production, The Diary of Anne Frank, On the Edge Theater Ensemble, under the keen and heartfelt direction of Diana Trotter Nicholson. Anne Frank basked in strong and sensitive acting all the way around. Among all the other offerings this season, it simply stood out in a class by itself. Best Actress, Christine Schumann in The Diary of Anne Frank. The Columbia River High School junior played the optimistic and impressionable heroine with a natural and delightful candor rarely seen on local stages. Schumann introduced us to an Anne of sweet spirit, a girl full of adolescent innocence and idealism. Her performance was wistful, thoughtful, funny. She made me feel good, and she made me weep. I never doubted her for a second. Best Actor, Kurt Aristad for performances in You Know I Can't Hear You When the Water's Running for Blue Parrot Theater, and The Ghost in the Glass for the Old Slocum House Theater Company. I instantly liked this versatile comedian when I first saw him play a mattress salesman last November for Blue Parrot. He even practically made an entire production worthwhile when he recently appeared on the Slocum House boards as a bumbling young groom. I think Aristad just came around at the right time for me. I had stopped hoping our local stages would uncover some new actor who really surprised and delighted me. And then, well, there he was. Best Performance in a Musical, Judith McKay Dillon as Mother Abbess in The Sound of Music, Peanut Gallery Theater Company. Incidentally, Dolan won the same spot last year for her passionate portrayal of Bloody Mary in Clark County's South Pacific. Best Supporting Actress. This is always a toughie category, so I named 3. Pat Rohrbach as the jittery personal maid Blondie in The Ghost in the Glass, Slocum House. Jennifer Moore as Hattie in Laundry and Bourbon, On the Edge. And Cynthia Tank as Mrs. Frank in The Diary of Anne Frank, On the Edge. Best Supporting Actor, Chris Herman as King Philip in The Lion in Winter from On the Edge. Best Set Design, Mark Osley for The Secret Affairs of Mildred Wild, Clark County Theater Department. Best Costumes, Gretchen Van de Water for The Lion in Winter, On the Edge. So this article is from June 13th, 1996. Awards await hopefuls of local theater productions Saturday. The best and the brightest in local theater will be honored Saturday when the Clark County Theater Alliance Awards are presented. The ceremony will begin at 7 p.m. at the Columbia Arts Center, 400 West Evergreen Boulevard. Tickets are $5 at the door. 24 awards will be presented, including Best Comedy, Best Musical, and Best Drama of the 1995-96 season. Nominated for Best Comedy are A Curious Savage by Slocum House, Same Time Next Year by Small Stage Productions, The Comedy of Errors by Clark College, and Other People's Money by Dream Chasers Incorporated. 3 productions from Clark College dominate the Best Musical category: Life on Broadway, Carousel, and The Magic of Andrew Lloyd Webber. Also nominated are A Chorus Line from Heartline Productions and Starmites by Blue Parrot and Prairie High School. Mask and Mirror Productions scored 2 nominations, with the Best Drama category with Our Town and The Miracle Worker. Blue Parrot, Steel Magnolias, Slocum House's A Woman of No Importance, and the effects of gamma rays on the Man in the Moon marigolds from Clark also were nominated. Art Campbell is a double nominee for his Best Director for Mask and Mirrors productions of The Miracle Worker and Our Town. He is joined by Dan Anderson, Clark, for The Comedy of Errors, Steve Cocker, Dream Chasers, for Death by Chocolate, and Michael Hansen, Slocum House, for A Curious Savage. Up for the Leading Actress Award in Comedy or Drama are Deborah Hunter in Our Town, Julie Madsen in A Curious Savage, Joan Grandin in The Miracle Worker, Deanna Green in The Effect of Gamma Rays on the Man in the Moon marigolds, and Sharon Casey Rollins in Come Back Little Sheba. For lead actor in a comedy or drama, the list includes Jerry Hall in Our Town, Steve Cocker in Other People's Money, and Brian Peterson, a triple nominee for his performances in Death by Chocolate, The Comedy of Errors, and Same Time Next Year. 9 of 10 nominations for Best Musical Performance. Okay, so Michael Haywood wasn't nominated for lead actor in Come Back Little Sheba. That's too bad. That other guy had 3 nominations. Wow. Anyway, that's a bummer. 9 of 10 nominations for Best Musical Performance are from Clark College's productions. In the Best Performance by a Female, the only non-Clark nominee is Selena Nicholson, Heartland Theater, in A Chorus Line. The others, all from Clark Productions, including Lori Cocker, Marion Salazar, and Cheryl Denichi Sheedy in Life on Broadway, a musical review, and Katie Hubner, The Magic of Andrew Lloyd Webber review. Jim Fernandez, Kevin Stipe have been nominated in the Best Musical Performance by a Male for Carousel. Also nominated were Fernandez and Jose Ordonez for The Magic of Andrew Lloyd Webber review, and Philip Garcia for Life on Broadway, a musical review. Special awards to be presented Saturday include the Decker Award for Outstanding Contribution to Theater in Clark County, the Columbia Art Award for Theater Excellence, the Rising Star Awards for Young Actors, and the Judge's Eye Award for Lifelong Contribution to the Arts. Erica Erland in Starmites, Blue Parrot and Prairie. Sandra Johnson in A Chorus Line, Heartland Theater. Elizabeth Dendy in Carousel, Clark College. I can't believe Mike Haywood did not get a nomination for Come Back Little Sheba. Anyway, lead actor musical. Ron Dahm in Carousel, Clark College. Mike Westby in A Chorus Line, Heartland Theater. Best Supporting Actress musical. Ginger Land in Carousel, Clark College. Anche L. Zwendel in A Chorus Line, Heartland Theater. Selena Nicholson in A Chorus Line, Heartland Theater. Kathy McGrath in Starmites, Blue Parrot and Prairie. Supporting Actor musical. Jim Fernandez in Carousel, Clark College. Kevin Stipe in Carousel, Clark College. Thomas Lindsay in A Chorus Line, Heartland Theater. Kevin Stipe in A Chorus Line, Heartland Theater. Supporting actress, comedy or drama. Casey Crestel in The Miracle Worker, Mask and Mirror. Jessica Hester in Steel Magnolias, Clark College. Deanna Moffat in A Curious Savage, Slocum House. Rebecca Kramer in Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, Dream Chasers. Tori Cornwall in The Miracle Worker, Mask and Mirror. Supporting actor, comedy or drama. Brad Batten and Basil Walters in The Comedy of Errors, Clark College. Kelly McCoy in The Comedy of Errors, Clark College. Don Hess in Other People's Money, Dreamcatchers. Rich Durrington in Death by Chocolate, Dreamcatchers. Bob Madsen in Our Town, Mask and Mirror. Musical direction. Carousel, April Dovick and Dale Beacock, Clark College. The Magic of Andrew Lloyd Webber Review, April Duvock, Clark College. A Chorus Line, April Duvock, Clark College. Star Mites, Tony Bump, Blue Parrot and Prairie High School. Choreography, A Chorus Line, Tammy Gray from Heartland. Star Mites, Carla Kendall, Blue Parrot and Prairie. Carousel, Tammy Gray, Clark College. Set Design, Star Mites, Steve Cocker, Blue Parrot and Prairie. Our Town, Art Campbell, Mask and Mirror. Steel Magnolias, Tony Bump, Blue Parrot. Miracle Worker, Travis Miller, Mask and Mirror. The Curious Savage, Michael St. James, Slocum House. Lighting Design, Miracle Worker, Travis Miller, Mask and Mirror. The Curious Savage, Michael St. James, Slocum House. Star Mites, Adam Jacobs, Blue Parrot and Prairie. Our Town, Kat Curtis, Mask and Mirror. Costume Design, Star Mites, Steve Coker, Blue Parrot and Prairie. Our Town, Barbara Campbell and Pat Rohrbach, Mask and Mirror. The Effect of Gamma Rays on Man in the Moon, Marigolds. Astrid Rasmussen, Clark College. The Comedy of Errors, Astrid Rasmussen and Kathleen Staley, Clark College. The Great Diamond Robbery, Louise Cleveland, Vancouver Community Theater. The next one I have has to be around 1998, and it's continued from something else. I don't think I have the first page for this one. Productions, The Boys Next Door, Mary Kay Trannon of the Old Slocum House Theater Company. Gallery, Sean Albrechtston of Clark College Theater. Best Supporting Actor in a Musical, Mike Solly as Oscar Lindquist in Sweet Charity, Heartland Theater Productions. Brett Farnsworth is Allie Huckham in Oklahoma, Blue Parrot Theater. Todd Andes as ensemble member in Godspell. That's the one I went and saw. Blue Parrot Theater. Darren Merritt is ensemble member in Sweet Charity, Heartland Theater Productions. Ignacio Gonzalez as Vital in Sweet Charity, Heartland Theater Productions. Supporting actress in a musical, Selena Nicholson is Helen ensemble member in Sweet Charity, Heartland Theater Productions. Kirsten Carnahan is Addo Annie in Oklahoma, Blue Parrot Theater. Brooke Powell as Angel in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, Clark College Theater. Amy Haight is ensemble member in Godspell, Blue Parrot Theater. Best Supporting Actor in a Comedy, D. Michael Haywood is D. Gerald Lyman in Bus Stop, Old Slocum House Theater Company. Todd Andes is Lord Arthur Goring in Ideal Husband, Old Slocum House Theater Company. Mike McDaniel is Virgil Blessing in Bus Stop, Old Slocum House Theater Company. Don Weed is Arnold Wiggins in The Boys Next Door, Old Slocum House Theater Company. Jerry Hall is Sanders in Lend Me a Tenor, Mask and Mirror Theater Company. So the one who won that is D. Michael Haywood is Dr. Gerald Lyman in Bus Stop. Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy, Lana Miller is Marjorie Baverstock in the musical comedy Murders of 1940, Old Slocum House Theater Company. Sue Ellen Christensen as Maria in Lend Me a Tenor, Mask and Mirror Theater Company. Laura Castle as Lady Olivia Ballaston in An Ideal Husband, Old Slocum House Theater Company. Connie R. Dickhouse is Miss Laura Chevalier in An Ideal Husband, Old Slocum House Theater Company. Sharon Casey Rollins as Grace in Bus Stop, Old Slocum House Theater Company. And the winner was Sharon Casey Rollins as Grace in Bus Stop. Best Supporting Actor in a Drama, Lord Palada as Otis Baker in Andersonville Trial, Heartland Theater Company. Steve Osborne as Big Daddy in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Mask and Mirror Theater Company. Aaron Schur, I know that's my friend, he's a musician, no doubt. Aaron Schur as James Davidson, Andersonville Trial, Heartland Theater Company. Bob Madsen as Harold in Orphans, ACME Productions. Darren Merritt as Martin Desert in Equus, Clark College Theater. Supporting Actress in a Drama, Pat Rohrbach is Aunt Lavinian in The Heiress, Old Slocum House Theater Company. Pat Rohrbach is Big Mama in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Mask and Mirror. Brooke Powell is Nina in The Cocktail Hour, Clark College Theater. Liz Westby is May in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Mask and Mirror Theater Company. Lead Actress in a Musical, Jodie Ann Solly is Charity in Sweet Charity, Heartland Theater Company. Lisa Duvall is Lori in Oklahoma, Blue Parrot Theater. Linda Osley is Miss Mona in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, Clark College Theater. Lead Actor in a Musical, Mike Kelly is Sheriff Ed Earl Dodd in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, Clark College Theater. Tony Bump is Jesus in Godspell, Blue Parrot Theater. Steve Duvall is Curly in Oklahoma, Blue Parrot Theater. Lead Actress in a Drama, Lisa Duvall is Catherine in The Heiress, Old Slocum House Theater Company. Keena Jones is Jill Mason in Equus, Clark College Theater. Tori Cornwall is Maggie in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Mask and Mirror Theater Company. Dina Bergstrom is Jill Tanner in Butterflies Are Free, Evergreen Theater. Lead Actor in a Drama, Alan Ryan is Dan Baker in Butterflies Are Free, Evergreen Theater. Sean Cates is Philip in Orphans, Acme Productions. Michael Langman is Alan Strong in Equus, Clark College Theater. Bill Sismar is King Leontes in The Winter's Tale, Vancouver Theater Company. Best Lead Actor in a Comedy, Todd Andes as Beau in Bus Stop, Old Slocum House Theater Company. Steve Coker is Oscar Madison in The Odd Couple, Acme Productions. Sean Cates is Felix Unger in The Odd Couple, Acme Productions. Bob Madsen is Bradley in The Cocktail Hour, Clark College Theater. Lead Actress in a Comedy, Peggy Gleason is Lady Gertrude Chiltern in Ideal Husband, Old Slocum House Theater Company. Dana Hobson is Elsa von Grosseketten in The Musical Comedy Murders of 1940, Old Slocum House Theater Company. Julie Madsen is Anne in That Cocktail Hour, Clark College Theater. Laura Castle is Cherie in Bus Stop, Old Slocum House Theater Company. And the winner was Laura Castle for Bus Stop. Best Musical of the Year, Godspell, directed by Alan Stokesbury of Blue Parrot Theater. Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, directed by Tammy Castillo Gray of Clark College Theater. Oklahoma, directed by Tony Bump of Blue Parrot Theater. Sweet Charity, directed by Tammy Costello Gray, Heartland Theater Productions. Best Drama of the Year, Orphans. Sweet Charity, directed by Tammy Costello Gray of Heartland Theater Productions. Best Drama of the Year, Orphans, directed by Steve Cocker, by Acme Productions. Equus, directed by Dan Anderson of Clark College Theater. The Andersonville Trial, directed by Dennis Sparks of Heartland Theater Productions. Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, directed by Art Campbell by Mask and Mirror Theater Company. The Heiress, directed by Julie Madsen of Old Slocum House Theater Company. Best Comedy of the Year, Lend Me a Tenor, directed by Leslie Werner of Mask and Mirror Theater Company. The Ideal Husband, directed by D. Michael Haywood of Old Slocum House Theater Company. The Odd Couple, directed by Steve Cocker of Acme Productions. Bus Stop, directed by Connie R. Dickhouse of Old Slocum House Theater Company. The Cocktail Hour, directed by J. Patrick of Clark College Theater. Nominees are not announced for Best Director of the Year, Rising Star, Judge's Eye, Columbia Award for Theater Excellent, or the Decker Award. I have a flyer for the 10th Annual Theater Art Awards from June 15th, 1996. This one she starred the winners. So the winner of Best Musical Direction went to April Duvac and Dale Beacock for Carousel. Best Costume Design went to Astrid Rasmussen and Kathleen Staley. The Comedy of Errors from Clark College. Best Individual Musical Performance by Male. She did not star the winner. I don't know who won the rest of them, but I do know that Sharon won for Come Back Little Sheba. I wonder if Tony won anything that year. Would be good to know. I have one more flyer for the Theater Arts Awards, and this is May 30th, 1989. I see we have Linda Greep is in there for Best Actress. Pat Rohrbach, Musical Performance. Nominees for Actress: M. Beth Lloyd as Kate in Brighton Beach Memoirs. I'm just looking for people I recognize at the moment. Tony Bump for Pirates of Penance for choreography. Musical Production, Pirates of Penance is in there. Rising Star Award. We got Tony Bump and Kurt Aristad are in there. I see a nomination for Inherit the Wind. I know we're almost to the end of this section, but I did want to bring up some of Sharon's other plays from other theater companies. One of them is The Skin of Our Teeth, and this was Clark College Theater, May of 1989. There's probably some people in there I recognize. Kurt Aristad. We've heard about Steve Coker. I don't think I've met him. Richard Altenbach. Sharon Casey Rollins. We have You Can't Take It With You from Blue Parrot, and this was January through February of 1995. There's Julie Madsen's in there, D. Michael Haywood, Steve Duvall, Kobe Sullivan. We have Death Takes a Holiday from Mask and Mirror. We got Don Weed, he was in this one. Laura Castle was one of the crew. The Snow Queen by Heartland Theater Productions. Other than Sharon, I don't recognize any of these guys. And then we have The Legacy of Mother Joseph, written and directed by Dennis J. Sparks. Performed at the historical Marshall House. This is probably the best flyer I've ever seen. It is absolutely gorgeous. Whoever did that was really awesome. I didn't get to see this show. That's a bummer because this one looked really extremely good. Sharon Casey Rollins, Mother Joseph. She has a very extensive background in local theater and as a singer. She is an award-winning actress, and some of the plays she has appeared in are Bus Stop, Inherit the Wind, Three Sisters, and The Snow Queen. She confesses her favorite role was the lead in Come Back Little Sheba. This is the most beautiful flyer I have ever seen for any of the plays. They did an extremely professional job on this, and I didn't get to see this show, and I'm really bummed out about it. There's one more play I forgot to talk about, and that is Inherit the Wind. I have an article from October 21st, 1988 for Inherit the Wind. Tonight and Saturday night are the final opportunities to see what is the most ambitious dramatic effort Clark County Theater has wrought since last fall's The Diary of Anne Frank. The show Inherit the Wind was inspired by the famous Scopes monkey trial of 1925, as the battling attorneys Jerry Hall gives his best performance to date, and Mike Haywood has the booming presence required for the character of Matthew Harrison Brady. Both actors stretch their stage talent here and exude great enthusiasm and joy in performing. Don't miss this fine achievement under the direction of Dennis Sparks. So I have a flyer here for Inherit the Wind. This was on the Edge Theater Ensemble performance. And we have D. Michael Haywood, Richard Altenbach, Gaethel Ferguson. We got Kurt Aristad, Art Green, Sharon Casey Rollins, Ron Carmona, Mike Hansen. I heard nothing but wonderful things about this play. I never saw it, but it had a huge reputation, and I'm pretty sure it won some awards. At the same time, pretty close to Inherit the Wind, they also did a show called Loaves and Fishes. And all I know about Loaves and Fishes is that D. Michael Haywood was in it. The play was also had really good recommendations from everyone else. Anything that Sharon is in, she makes such a huge difference, and she can play her character to the T, and she just knows how to work the audience. And nobody's ever quite met anybody like her. So I thank her very much for sharing all of these articles and all of these wonderful memories with us. And it fills in a lot of pieces for all the other players that were in these shows, and getting to see the pictures and the flyers again fills in a lot of missing memories. And one thing I remember about the Slocum house ever since I was a kid, Hermine she used to kind of be a photographer. She carefully photographed and cataloged each play that was done, and there were photo albums that sat in the front room next to the theater that were all of the plays in order. And when they remodeled the theater, I don't know what happened to those photo albums. I don't know if it went back to Hermine's family or somebody else from the theater, but here I am trying to reconstruct the best of what we have to work with. And thank you, Sharon, for sharing all your wonderful memories and making us remember all these wonderful shows. So thank you, and stay tuned to my next part. We're going to get soon into interviewing people, and it's going to be great. So thank you for listening to our story.